You know, I've heard many preachers talk about the throne of God, but I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about the rainbow that is around the throne of God. So let us take a look at this amazing sight that the Apostle John was privileged to see when he was caught up into heaven. First, let's read our passage. Revelation 4:1-3. John was caught up into heaven and saw God's throne surrounded by a rainbow that shone like an emerald. Lightning and thunder came from the throne, and around it stood 24 elders in white robes. Now, John wasn't the first person to see this magnificent sight. When God first revealed his throne to human beings, the first thing they saw was the rainbow that surrounded it. Of course, we're talking about the first time that God allowed man to enter the garden. And when Adam and Eve looked around after they entered the garden, what did they see? They saw everything. But specifically, they saw a river that flowed out of Eden to water the garden, and there was a rainbow that appeared at the end of the river. You might say, well, why are we talking about the garden in the book of Revelation? Well, because the throne of God is a representation of the garden. If you'll notice, the throne of God is not in the garden, but it is in the midst of the garden. The throne of God represents the presence of God. And where is that presence? It's in the garden, just like it was back in the garden in the beginning. So what does the rainbow around the throne represent? The rainbow, like I said, represents God's presence. In fact, God said to Noah, when he came out of the ark, "This is the sign of the covenant that I have established with you and with the earth, the waters above the earth, and all living creatures that are with you. For the days of the flood, never again will all flesh be destroyed, while the earth endures." Genesis 9:15. So whenever you see a rainbow, what should you think of? The promise of God. And what was that promise? That he would never again destroy the earth by a flood. But some people say, well, a rainbow is a symbol of hope, and that's true. But rainbows also remind us of judgment, because in the same way that a rainbow appeared after the flood, it also appeared after the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. So what do we learn from this? We learn that whenever God's presence is around, there is both hope, but there is also judgment. Do not be deceived. That is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. So what should we do? As believers, we should live lives that are pleasing to God. We should live lives that bring glory and honor to God, because when we do that, we can have the assurance that we will spend eternity in his presence. Well, that's all for now. Till next time, God bless you, and remember, never hold a grudge, never repay evil for evil. But always remember to be kind, for that is what the Lord wants from you.